So the future is extraordinarily uncertain, but in today's video, I'm going to be diving into the WEF's report on the future jobs of 2025 and 2030. So this video is going to cover what jobs are going to stay, what jobs are rapidly declining, the industries that are, experiencing the most growth, and of course, the skills you're going to need to stay relevant in an AI-powered economy. So let's actually take a look at what is going to be driving this progress and changing the economy and job landscape. Looking at this first graph from the World Economic Forum's report, we're seeing something really eye-opening about how technology is reshaping our jobs. It's pretty wild. 86% of employers are saying AI and data processing are going to completely change how we work. That's huge, and it makes sense when you think about all the AI tools popping up everywhere. Then we've got robots and autonomous systems coming in second at 58%. So while everyone's talking about AI, actual physical automation is still a big deal for many businesses. Energy tech is sitting at 41%, which shows just how important sustainable energy is becoming in the business world. But here's what I find really interesting. Some of the tech we hear about all the time in the media isn't actually what businesses are focusing on. Take quantum computing and biotech, they're only at around 11 to 12%. And space tech, despite all the buzz about SpaceX and space tourism, only 9% of employers think it'll transform their business. Really puts things in perspective. The traditional stuff like new materials and semiconductor tech is kind of in the middle ground, around 20–30%. It basically tells us that while these industries are still important, businesses are more focused on digital transformation and automation right now. What this chart really shows us is that businesses aren't necessarily chasing the flashiest new technologies. They're prioritizing tech that can make a real difference in their day-to-day operations. It's less about moonshots and more about practical changes that can transform how work gets. Let's check out this next chart, which honestly blew my mind a bit. It shows which jobs are going to grow the most in the next few years. Right at the top, we've got big data specialists with a massive 120% growth rate. That's more than double. And hot on their heels are fintech engineers and AI specialists, both basically doubling too. You know what's cool about this? It perfectly matches up with what we just saw in that first chart about AI and tech being game changers. We're seeing huge growth not just in the obvious tech roles like software developers, but also in cybersecurity, because let's face it, with all this tech, we need people to keep it safe. But here's what I find really interesting. It's not all about coding and computers. Look at delivery drivers making it into the top 10. It shows how digital transformation isn't just creating tech jobs, it's changing every kind of work. Think about how many delivery drivers we need now with everyone shopping online, and check this out. Environmental and renewable energy engineers are up there too. With all the focus on climate change and sustainable energy, these roles are becoming super important. It really paints a picture of where we're headed, a future that's not just digital, but also more sustainable. These aren't just random job titles, they're like a roadmap showing us exactly where the biggest opportunities are going to be in the next few years. But let's dive into each of these specific roles and why they are so important for the coming future. First, we have big data specialists. Big data specialists are the go-to pros for wrangling and making sense of massive datasets, helping businesses make smarter decisions. They handle everything from gathering and storing data to analyzing it and presenting the findings in a way that's easy to grasp. The buzz around this job is getting louder because we're creating data at an incredible pace, and companies need experts to turn that raw info into actionable insights. Plus, as technology leaps forward, especially with AI and machine learning, there's a growing need for folks who can dive deep into complex data analytics. In fact, the big data field is booming, with the market expected to hit around $68 billion by 2025, up from $15 billion in 2020. You're thinking about jumping into a field that's not only in high demand, but also offers a chance to work with cutting-edge tech. Becoming a big data specialist might just be your ticket. Next, let's take a look at fintech engineers. These are the tech wizards behind the apps and platforms that make managing money a breeze. They blend financial know-how with coding skills to create tools like mobile banking apps, payment gateways, and robo-advisors. This job sector is booming for a few reasons. First, there's a massive shift towards digital finance. People prefer handling their finances online or via apps. Second, the rise of technologies like blockchain and AI is opening new avenues for innovation in finance. Lastly, traditional banks are catching on, investing heavily in tech to keep up with nimble startups. All this means fintech engineers are in hot demand, shaping the future of how we all interact with money. It's pretty clear why AI and machine learning specialist jobs are set to skyrocket by 2030. For starters, AI is becoming a cornerstone in various industries, from healthcare to finance, automating tasks and offering insights that were previously unimaginable.
This widespread adoption means companies are on the lookout for experts who can develop and manage these intelligent systems. Plus, with the AI market projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 36.6% from 2024 to 2030, reaching an estimated $1.8 billion by 2030, the demand for skilled professionals in this field is only going up. Moreover, as businesses strive to stay competitive, they're investing heavily in AI to enhance efficiency and innovation. This tech isn't just a passing trend, it's reshaping job roles and creating new opportunities. In fact, the World Economic Forum estimates that AI could create 170 million new jobs globally by 2030, even though it might displace 92 million positions, resulting in a net increase of 78 million jobs.
So it's kind of a no-brainer. As AI continues to evolve and integrate into our daily lives, the need for specialists who can harness its potential is set to rise dramatically. Despite concerns that automation and AI might replace software developers, the demand for these professionals is actually projected to grow as we approach 2030. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics anticipates a 22% increase in software developer jobs between 2020 and 2030, a rate much faster than the average for all occupations. This growth is driven by several factors.
Emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain are creating new opportunities and applications, necessitating skilled developers to design and implement innovative solutions. Business digitalization, companies across various industries are increasingly adopting digital tools and platforms to enhance operations and customer engagement, leading to a higher demand for custom software solutions and consequently software developers.
Automation of routine tasks. While AI can automate repetitive aspects of coding, it also enables developers to focus on more complex and creative tasks, increasing productivity and expanding the scope of projects they can undertake. In summary, rather than diminishing the need for software developers, advancements in AI and automation are transforming the role, emphasizing the importance of adaptability and continuous learning in this ever-evolving field. Data warehousing specialists are expected to see increased demand leading up to 2030 due to several key factors. The exponential growth of data generation across industries necessitates efficient storage and management solutions, making the expertise of these specialists crucial. Additionally, the integration of advanced technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning into business operations requires robust data infrastructures, which data warehousing professionals are adept at developing and maintaining. The shift towards cloud computing further amplifies this need, as organizations seek scalable and secure data storage options. Moreover, stringent regulatory requirements around data governance and security compel companies to ensure compliance, relying on specialists to implement effective data management strategies. Collectively, these trends underscore the growing importance of data warehousing specialists in the evolving digital landscape. The demand for autonomous and electric vehicle specialists is projected to rise significantly by 2030, driven by several key factors. Firstly, the global automotive industry is undergoing a transformative shift towards electric mobility, with electric vehicles, EVs, expected to constitute a substantial portion of new car sales worldwide. This transition necessitates a workforce skilled in EV technologies, including battery engineering, power electronics, and sustainable manufacturing processes. Secondly, advancements in autonomous driving technologies are creating a need for experts in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and sensor integration to develop and maintain self-driving systems. The global autonomous vehicle market is anticipated to witness significant growth, with projections estimating it will reach over USD 2.3 trillion by 2030. In the United States, the shift towards electric vehicles is expected to create over 150,000 jobs by 2030, provided policymakers make smart investments to secure US leadership in the auto sector. Additionally, significant investments in infrastructure, such as the installation of millions of charging points and the development of robust data networks, further drive the demand for specialists in this field. As the automotive sector continues to evolve, the need for professionals adept in both electric and autonomous vehicle technologies is set to increase, offering substantial economic and employment opportunities globally. The demand for user experience and user interface designers is expected to rise significantly by 2030. This growth is driven by several factors. Firstly, as businesses increasingly prioritize user-centered design to enhance customer satisfaction and differentiate themselves in competitive markets, the need for skilled professionals in this field grows.
This shift is evident across various sectors, including finance, healthcare, and e-commerce, where digital transformation is paramount. For instance, the global consumer healthcare market is projected to reach $781.5 billion by 2030, highlighting the expanding scope for designers in creating intuitive digital health solutions. Secondly, the rapid advancement of technologies such as artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and virtual reality necessitates sophisticated and user-friendly interfaces, further driving demand for expertise in this area. Additionally, the proliferation of mobile devices and applications requires designers to create seamless and responsive user experiences across multiple platforms. According to industry reports, the user interface and user experience market size is expected to grow from USD 2.20 billion in 2025 to USD 9.28 billion by 2030. Let's take a look at some of the job employment opportunities that are going to be declining in future years. So if you or someone you know is working in this area, it might be wise to pay attention. Looking at these 4 declining roles, postal service clerks, bank tellers, data entry clerks, and cashiers ticket clerks, we're witnessing a fundamental shift in how we interact with services in our daily lives. The decline of these positions isn't sudden or unexpected, but rather the culmination of multiple technological and societal changes that have been in motion for years. Let's consider how digital transformation is impacting each of these roles. Postal service clerks are seeing decreased demand as communication continues to shift toward digital channels, with email, instant messaging, and digital documentation becoming the norm for both personal and business correspondence. The rise of automated sorting systems and digital tracking has also reduced the need for human intervention in mail processing. Banking tellers are experiencing a similar transformation, with mobile banking apps and online financial services handling what once required an in-person visit to a local branch. Today's consumers can deposit checks, transfer money, and manage their accounts entirely from their smartphones, while AI-powered chatbots handle many basic customer service inquiries. Data entry clerks are perhaps the most direct example of technological displacement, as automated data capture systems, OCR technology, and AI-powered document processing systems can now handle what once required manual input. Smart forms, digital documentation, and automated data validation have significantly reduced the need for human data entry. Finally, cashiers and ticket clerks are being replaced by self-service kiosks, mobile payment systems, and digital ticketing platforms. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated this trend as businesses and consumers embraced contactless payments and digital transactions for safety reasons, leading to lasting changes in consumer behavior. What's particularly interesting is how these roles share a common thread. They all primarily involve transaction processing and data handling tasks that can now be automated with greater efficiency and accuracy. This transition isn't just about cost saving, it's about meeting modern consumer expectations for speed, convenience, and 24/7 service availability. However, it's important to note that this doesn't mean these jobs will disappear entirely. Rather, they're evolving into roles that require more complex problem solving and interpersonal skills. The traditional accountant's job is being taken over by really smart software and AI tools that can do the basic work automatically. Think about it. Tasks like tracking expenses, managing payroll, and creating financial reports can now be done by computers in seconds, work that used to take accountants hours or even days to complete. Modern accounting software can now scan receipts, categorize expenses, match transactions, and even flag anything that looks unusual, all on its own. Small businesses that used to need a full-time accountant can now use simple apps to handle their daily finances. Even complex jobs like preparing taxes and checking if companies are following financial rules can now be handled by AI systems. But here's the interesting part. Accountants aren't disappearing completely, they're just changing what they do. Instead of spending their days inputting numbers and checking calculations, they're becoming more like financial advisors. They're using their expertise to help businesses make smarter decisions about their money, spot opportunities to grow, and plan for the future. The computers handle the basic math and paperwork, while accountants focus on the bigger picture, understanding what the numbers actually mean for the business. It's like how calculators didn't replace mathematicians, they just freed them up to solve more interesting problems. Looking at this World Economic Forum report on declining jobs, we can see that administrative assistants and executive secretaries are prominently featured among the top declining roles, showing around a 25% decline rate heading toward 2030. This aligns perfectly with what we're seeing in the workplace. Traditional assistant roles are being heavily impacted by digital transformation. Think about it. Most executives now have smartphones that keep their own calendars, AI scheduling tools that can automatically set up meetings, and voice-to-text technology that can handle dictation and notes. Virtual meeting platforms can automatically record and transcribe conversations, while email management systems can sort and prioritize messages without human help. The WF report specifically highlights this role as one of the fastest declining positions because almost every traditional task an administrative assistant handled is being automated. Travel arrangements can be done through apps, meeting notes are auto-transcribed, and calendar management is automated through AI tools. But here's what's really interesting about the data from this report. It shows a clear pattern where jobs involving routine administrative tasks are consistently declining. Looking at the chart, we can see this isn't an isolated trend. It's part of a bigger picture where roles involving routine information management, from data entry clerks to legal secretaries, are all showing similar downward trends. However, just like with the other declining roles we discussed, this doesn't mean all administrative jobs are disappearing. Instead, they're evolving into more specialized roles that focus on complex problem solving, project management, and strategic support, things that AI still can't handle well. Let's take a look at probably the most important chart from the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report that shows us something really interesting: the jobs that will add the most actual positions to the job market between 2025 and 2030. Unlike our previous charts that showed us percentage changes, this one tells us about raw numbers, real jobs that will be created. What's particularly eye-opening here is seeing agricultural workers and delivery drivers at the top of the list. This might surprise some people who think all future jobs will be in tech or AI. While those sectors are definitely growing fast in terms of percentage, when we look at the actual number of new jobs being created, these more traditional roles are still major players in the job market. It's a perfect example of why we need to look at job market data from different angles to get the full picture. Think of it like this: a small tech startup might double its workforce from 50 to 100 people, showing 100% growth, while a larger traditional industry might add 1,000 new jobs, but only show 10% growth. Both stories matter, and that's exactly what this chart helps us understand. Let's dive into it. Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't everything going digital? But there's a fascinating story here. This growth isn't about traditional farming as we know it. It's about the transformation of agriculture through technology and changing global needs. We're seeing a new kind of agricultural worker emerging, one who needs to understand smart farming systems, work with agricultural drones, handle precision farming equipment, and manage sustainable farming practices. There's also a growing demand for local food production, organic farming, and sustainable agriculture, all of which require more human workers than traditional industrial farming. Plus, as concerns about food security and sustainable food production increase globally, many regions are investing heavily in their agricultural sectors. But here's the really interesting part. While we're seeing growth in agricultural jobs, these aren't exactly like the farming jobs of the past. Today's agricultural workers often need to understand data analytics for crop management, operate high-tech machinery, and work with climate-smart farming techniques. So while the job title might sound traditional, the role itself is evolving to meet the needs of modern technology-enhanced agriculture. It's a perfect example of how traditional sectors aren't just disappearing in our digital age, they're transforming and, in many cases, actually growing. Delivery drivers are showing up as the second largest growing job category, and there's a really interesting reason for this. The explosion of e-commerce and home delivery services isn't just a pandemic trend, it's becoming a permanent part of how we live and shop. Think about it. Every time you click buy now on a website or order food through an app, you're creating demand for delivery services. Even with all our talk about delivery drones and autonomous vehicles, human drivers are still essential and will be through 2030. What's fascinating about this growth is how the role itself is evolving. Today's delivery drivers aren't just dropping off packages, they're using route optimization apps, managing digital delivery confirmations, and handling real-time customer communications through mobile platforms. The job has become more tech-savvy while still requiring that crucial human element for handling packages, navigating complex delivery situations, and providing customer service. The big numbers we're seeing in this report also reflect something important about the job market. While a lot of attention goes to high-tech roles, it's often these essential service jobs that create the most actual positions. This ties back to what we saw earlier in the report about automation. While some vehicles might become autonomous, the complexity of last-mile delivery, especially in residential areas, means human drivers will remain crucial for years to come. Plus, with the growth of same-day delivery services and specialized delivery needs, the demand for skilled drivers just keeps growing. Let me explain the surprising growth in construction and building trades jobs using Moravec's paradox, which is a fascinating concept that shows us why robots struggle with tasks that humans find easy. According to the World Economic Forum's data, building and construction trades are seeing significant growth, and here's where Moravec's paradox comes into play beautifully. Think about a construction worker installing a window frame or finishing a complex corner in a room. While these tasks seem simple to us humans, they're incredibly complex
for robots to replicate. Moravec's paradox tells us that the tasks humans evolved to do over millions of years, like adapting to irregular surfaces, maintaining balance on uneven ground, or making split-second adjustments based on material variations, are incredibly difficult to automate. That's why even though we can have robots build cars in perfectly controlled factory environments, we still need human builders for construction sites. A humanoid robot would struggle with what construction workers do naturally, like feeling the weight distribution of materials, understanding how different surfaces interact, or making subtle adjustments based on countless environmental factors. Even the most advanced robots today can't match a human's ability to problem solve in real time when encountering unexpected situations on a construction site, like dealing with a warped piece of wood or compensating for an uneven foundation. This explains why the WEF report shows growth in these trades. As our building needs increase, we're finding that human skills in construction are irreplaceable, even as we add more technology to the field. While we might use robots for some repetitive tasks or prefabrication in controlled environments, the complex, adaptive work of actual construction still needs human hands and mind. To look at is the growth in social work and counseling jobs that tells us something really important about our future. Even as we move into an increasingly digital world, our need for human connection and support is actually growing. The rise of these roles isn't just about traditional counseling, it's reflecting some big changes in how we think about mental health and social support in our modern world. Here's what's driving this growth. First, we're seeing a huge shift in how society views mental health. It's no longer taboo to seek help. It's becoming normal and even encouraged. Companies are adding mental health services to their benefits, schools are expanding counseling services, and health insurance is covering more mental health care than ever before.
What's particularly interesting about these roles is that they're almost automation-proof. While AI can help with scheduling or initial assessments, it can't replace the human empathy, intuition, and complex emotional understanding that makes counseling work. You can't automate genuine human connection, that ability to read subtle emotional cues, build trust, and provide personalized emotional support.
We're also seeing these professionals taking on new challenges, helping people cope with digital stress, social media anxiety, work-life balance in a remote world, and the emotional impacts of rapid technological change. And as our population ages, there's growing demand for social workers who can help older adults navigate healthcare systems and maintain their quality of life. The data suggests this isn't just a temporary trend. It's a fundamental shift in how we structure our society, recognizing that as our world becomes more complex and interconnected, the need for professional, emotional, and social support is becoming more essential, not less. Let me break down what this report is really telling us about the future of work. The big takeaway is that the jobs of tomorrow need a mix of two things: tech skills and human skills. On the tech side, knowing your way around AI, big data, and cybersecurity is becoming super important. But here's the interesting part: just being good with computers isn't enough anymore. The report shows that employers are looking for people who can think critically, get creative when solving problems, and roll with the punches when things change. What's really standing out is how important it is to keep learning throughout your career. The workplace is changing so fast that being open to learning new things and adapting to change is becoming just as valuable as any specific skill. We're seeing that by 2030, a lot of workers will need to learn new skills to stay relevant in their jobs. But here's the really important part. While robots and AI are taking over some jobs, human skills like empathy, good listening, and understanding people are becoming more valuable, not less. Think about it, AI can crunch numbers, but it can't truly understand human emotions or build real relationships. Looking at the growing jobs like AI specialists and sustainability experts, they need people who can handle change, manage resources well, and understand technology. Meanwhile, the declining jobs tend to be ones that involve repetitive tasks that computers can handle. The report wraps up by pointing out that successful companies aren't just focusing on skills, they're also making sure to create workplaces where people feel supported and included. It's about building a workforce that's not just skilled, but also adaptable and human-centered for whatever the future brings.